Hi guys, this is Vitaly with AFT Dispatch and A2C Logistics, and in today's video, I'd like to speak with you about B1 visa drivers and cabotage. But first, roll the intro. Welcome back. Before we get started, I'd like to ask you to please like the video, be sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss a single release of our videos, where every Friday we're talking about something that could benefit you in your trucking businesses, in your trucking careers, as well as cover the loads we've successfully booked for our customers, consisting of leased owner operators and carriers operating under their own MC authorities, running under our truck dispatch services. As always, guys, big thank you for all the likes you've provided in all the previous videos. Please do keep them coming, and let's talk about these B1 visa drivers and cabotage. Now, if I'm being completely honest, up until next week, I had no idea what the word meant. Talking about cabotage, I didn't even know it existed. And it was our live video that we did last Sunday where one of the commenters or someone in the chat had mentioned the word cabotage and what was the reason for some of the issues with lower freight rates in the Laredo, the Texas area, and some of the things in the southern, near the southern border that were going on. He had mentioned that. I thought for sure he must have meant sabotage. And this was just, autocorrect, playing its game, or just a misspelling, clerical error, whatever it might be. But no, lo and behold, that wasn't the case. Cabotage is what he was talking about, and he was actually more referring to B1 visa drivers, which is something that he kind of explained later. So over the last several days, I did a bit of digging, got some more information, and what I've uncovered is quite interesting. Now, first of all, this isn't a new problem. This is an issue that's been plaguing the U.S. Trucking industry for the last 25 years or so. And what we discussed last Sunday is just a tip of the iceberg from what I found now. Now, so you understand, a B1 visa is basically a business visa. It's a business visitor visa, allowing companies to do business, allowing individuals to do business. These are foreign nationals able to come in, do business, and then they got to go back home. Now, there are certain stipulations, certain restrictions that are set in place, but unfortunately, from what we're seeing and what we've been seeing over the last 2 to 3 decades or so, is that this is an ongoing issue that's only getting worse as the global economies are declining. Now, what are we looking at here? These are business visitors. These are holders who cannot compete with U.S. companies. They're not, for a Mexican trucking company cannot operate within the United States without the proper authorities and documentation, and so therefore they cannot compete against U.S. carriers. Now, what's important here is that currently, and this is truly unfortunate, U.S. carriers are outsourcing B1 truck drivers from Mexico into the United States. Now, where it gets really bad and where they're really breaking the rules here is that B1 drivers, when they're supposed to go back home, because the rule is that you come from Mexico loaded, you unload here, and your options are either turn around and deadhead back out empty, or if there's a load available, more than welcome to take that load and go back home loaded. However, what they're not allowed to do is to go around the country, get any deeper, run some freight, stay out for 2-3 weeks or months, and then come back home. Can't do that. You can if you have a dual authority, and that's something I recommend when I speak with a lot of our Canadian prospects that call in, and we used to work with Canadian carriers up until several years back for other reasons, but it's quite difficult to obtain the proper documentation, the proper approvals. And what these guys are doing in many cases is they're basically swapping their plates onto US plates, and they're going north. Then they're staying out OTR for several weeks to months, making the money, and coming back home to Mexico. Now, just so you understand on the economic side of things, Mexican drivers are making about a time and a half, about 1.5x the Mexican wages, okay? So what this does, it actually leaves a lot of room for American companies to be able to actually take the savings and consider those as profit, because while they're paying Mexican drivers more money than they would have otherwise made in Mexico, they're paying them considerably less than what would have been paid to an American driver, which, with that freight should have gone to an American driver. Those are American loads going in through the interstate system throughout the United States, just so we're clear. Now, what this is actually ultimately doing is it's harming the U.S. trucking industry. It's driving wages down. It's making, the available freight prices go down. And in many cases, below operating costs for American-based U.S. carriers who have to, abide and pay all the rules and taxes and all the regulations have to be complied with, right? So there's a certain cost of doing business, and in many cases, these loads are running for below operating costs and considerably lower than what they even normally used to run. Now, if you guys remember in previous videos, we've talked about this cross-border business and how it would bring in a whole lot more business. There's a lot more companies building on the border. There's a lot of this outsourcing that's going on. That should be a good thing for for Texas and New Mexico and some of the other entry points to the United States. However, what this is also causing is a problem in Mexico, because now there's a driver shortage in Mexico because there's already problems with infrastructure, with safety, with security on the Mexican side, and so drivers would prefer to run and work in the United States anyway. Plus, they get to make more money and they get to benefit with the currency exchange into Mexico. So for them, it's just win, 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 win. But for the United States, it's a big deal. And the problem is that the contributing factor to this now are U.S. trucking companies that are basically trying to outsource this business out of Mexico into the United States and take advantage of this new or newly found cheap labor. So let's not forget this has been going on for the last 25 plus years. Let's not forget about that. Let's not forget about Canadian carriers have been doing the same exact thing. I've talked to them. A lot of guys do this. This is basically normal. They try to run under the radar. They do all they can in order to not get busted, but to make up the difference and then use the difference in the higher paying freight and the crazy inflation in Canada on fuel cost, and then also the currency differential between US dollars and Canadian dollars. But at the end of the day, guys, talk to me, tell me that I'm wrong. Are we not simply exporting the very lifeblood of America? Let me know in the comment section below. Please make sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and I'm gonna switch over to camera. We're gonna look over loads we book for our customers, and I'll see you guys in just a moment. Welcome back. Let's take a look at some of these loads. Guys, this week we have vans, reefers, and a flatbed. Everyone did relatively good. Some did better than others, and some folks couldn't break the $2 average. Unfortunately, the market is on a decline. It continues to decline, and our guys are firing on all cylinders to help you guys make the very most and get through these difficult times. So let's move forward. Let's get started with our very first, the dry van. Reggie is the driver coming out of Houston, Texas, going to Verdon, South Dakota. It's a heavier load, 45,000 pounds of AG chemical solutions. A tanker endorsement was required on this load. 1,175 loaded miles, 45,000 pounds, booked at $2,600, got on $221 a loaded mile. Then Huron, South Dakota, going to New Braunfels, Texas, a 44,000 pound load of coarse chips, 22 totes, 1,099 loaded miles, booked at $2,250, got them $205 a loaded mile. Then San Marcos, Texas, coming out with 4 drops in Winfield, Louisiana. It's a 31,000 pound load of FAK or miscellaneous freight. 377 loaded miles, booked at $1,220, got them $324 a loaded mile. They finished off out of Shreveport, Louisiana, going to Chapin, Illinois. It's a 40,000 pound load of UV modules, 662 loaded miles, booked at $1,500, got them $227 per loaded mile average. Did a great job, 7 days on the road. Reggie ran 3,313 loaded miles, gross $7,570, ran those miles at a $228 per loaded mile average, and did an excellent job. An awesome gross for this week and a very good rate per mile also. So excellent job, Reggie. Way to go, sir. Next, we're going to jump down to Milagros and his reefer coming out of Newcastle, PA, with a 1-pick 2-dropper going to Gasaway, West Virginia, and then Huntington, West Virginia in the final. It's a load of 37,000 pounds of food products, 325 loaded miles, booked at $1,150, got him an awesome $354 loaded mile. Then Moorhead, Kentucky to Jonestown, Pennsylvania. It's another food product load, 42,000 pounds this time around, 504 loaded miles, booked at $1,650, got him $327 a loaded mile. Then Jonestown, Pennsylvania, zero deadhead coming out to Waverly, New York. It's a 9,100 pound super light load of palletized candy. Temperature set at 60 degrees on a reefer, so very reasonable. Quick run, 147 loaded miles, booked to $700, got him an easy $476 a loaded mile. Then he finished off at a Rock Hill, New York with a 1-pick 3-dropper to Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Norman, Oklahoma, and a final drop in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's a 43,000 pound load of food products sitting at 32 degrees on a reefer, 2,050 loaded miles in total, $3,600 booked, got him $176 per loaded mile getting out of there. So an excellent job, 7 days on a road. Tuesday to Tuesday, grossed $7,100 in his reefer, ran 3,026 loaded miles, and got an average of 235 per loaded mile average. So Milagres, excellent job as always. Very well done, sir. Next, we got Manuel. This is a dry van coming out of Holland, Michigan, going to Monrovia, Maryland. It's a 41.5 load of grocery products, 634 loaded miles booked at 1725, got him 272 a loaded mile. Then Winchester, Virginia to Somerville, South Carolina. It's a 43,000 pound load of foodstuffs, 549 loaded miles booked at $1,200, got him 219 a loaded mile. Then Somerville, South Carolina, zero deadhead to Warren, Ohio. Light load, 30,000 pound disposable dining goods, 695 loaded miles, $1,500 booked, got him 216 a loaded mile. Next was Akron, Ohio to Terre Haute, Indiana. It's a 14,000 pound light load of plastic resin, 375 loaded miles at $900, got him 240 a loaded mile. Then Terre Haute, Indiana, going to Indianapolis, Indiana, 30,500 pound loads of food products, sauces, powders and baking powders, etc., etc. 80 miles, short run, $530 is good money. That's 663 a loaded mile. Finished off right at Indianapolis, zero deadhead to LaPorte, Indiana, another quick run. Very light load of books, 22,000 pounds on the weight, 160 loaded miles, booked at $460. Got him 288 a loaded mile on that one in a great market, easy money. 7 days on the road, Manuel ran $6,315 in gross, 2,493 loaded miles, ran an average of 253 per loaded mile average, and get this, very good planning by dispatch, no question about it, and only 110 loaded deadhead miles in total for the entire week with some good money, a great rate of 253 a loaded mile, an excellent job. Moving on to Patrick, it's a flatbed coming out of San Antonio, Texas to Beulah, North Dakota. Now this was supposed to be a good load, but ended up being a Tonu for $250 collected for Patrick. Ended up picking up at Uvalde, Texas, going to Goshen, New York, a longer run of course, 46,000 pounds on a weight, load of onions. There was some tarping required at the top. Got that handled, 1,933 loaded miles booked at $39.69, got him 205 a loaded mile. Then took a load out of Fairless Hills, Pennsylvania with a 1-pick 2-dropper to Walkertown, North Carolina, and a final in Hickory, North Carolina. It's a 44,000 pound load of Morton salt, heavier load, 579 loaded miles booked at $1,400, got him out of there for $242 a loaded mile. And that was it. He ran for 6 days from Friday to Thursday, ended up grossing $56.19 in his flatbed, ran 2,512 loaded miles at an average of 224 per loaded mile. Did an excellent job, 6 days. Some of the heavier freight, but that's expected with flatbeds. Did a great job in 6 days. Very good gross, very good averages for both Patrick as well as dispatch. Moving on to a dry van. The driver is going to be Shelby on this one, coming out of Alden, Nebraska, going to Shreveport, Louisiana. It's a 26,000 pound load, very light load of aluminum products. Looks like bullets, cores, primers, cartridges, and all sorts of other non-hazmat materials. 835 loaded miles booked at $1,650, got him a $198 coming out of Nebraska. Then Shreveport, Louisiana, zero deadhead going out to Chapin, Illinois with a 40,000 pound load of UV modules. 662 loaded miles booked at $1,500, got him 227 a loaded mile. Then Decatur, Illinois, going to Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin, 43,000 pound load of food products. 346 loaded miles booked at $950, got him 275 on the dot. Finished off real strong out of Elroy, Wisconsin to Rosedale, Maryland, all the way out there. 44.5 on the load of milk products, 930 loaded miles, booked at $2,200, got him 237 a loaded mile on this one. Now here's the cool thing, also 6 days on the road, Shelby ran from Friday to Thursday, grossed $6,300, ran 2,773 loaded miles, out of an average of 227 a loaded miles, 6 days on the road and only 149 miles of deadhead. Excellent gross, excellent money, great job for everyone involved. Next we're gonna jump into, looks like a dry van. Oscar's the driver on this one, Baytown, Texas to Youngstown, Ohio. 44,000 pound load of plastic resin, palletized on 28 pallets. 1,387 loaded miles, booked at $2,600, got him $1.87 on that one. Then Youngstown, Ohio, zero deadhead to Fremont, Nebraska. 41.4 on the load, foodstuffs and products, 885 loaded miles, booked at $1,590, got him $1.80 coming out to Nebraska. And then out of Clearwater, Nebraska, took a load to Jackson, Mississippi. It's looks like a 44,000 pound load of miscellaneous foodstuffs, 1,003 loaded miles, booked at $2,000, got him just under $2 at $1.99. An excellent job. Oscar ran 7 days, $61.90 in gross, 3,275 loaded miles at an average of $1.89. So we're showing you the good with the bad. The market's terrible. Now, we did a good job with only 121 deadhead miles. They ended up getting a $1.89 on a loaded mile average. Oscar, next week's going to be better, my friend. They're running you around. They're making you that money. We're going to finish off, last but not least, with Charles and his dry van coming out of Aurora, Nebraska, and Leipzig. Also, that's Ohio. So 2 picks, 1 dropper going to Darlington, South Carolina. It's a 44,000 pound load of common goods. 1,453 loaded miles booked at $2,800. Got him $1.93 on that one. Then North Charleston, South Carolina, going to Houston, Texas. 42.5 on the load. It's a load of coffee. 1,087 loaded miles booked at $1,800. Got him $1.66 on that one. Finished off with Texas City, Texas to Granville, Ohio. 44.5 on the load. It's 22 pallets of sulfuric fertilizer. 1,233 loaded miles booked at $22.25. Got him $1.80 on that one. Then he finished off the entire week with $6,825 in gross, 3,773 loaded miles, ran an average of $1.81 per loaded mile. Charles, the tides will turn, my friend. You're in a good market. Excellent job, sir. Welcome back, and thanks for sticking around to the end. Guys, cabotage or not, freight rates are down. Whether we want to blame our legislators, the Mexican government, U.S. companies that are taking advantage of the situation, Canadian carriers, blame who you want. The bottom line is that this is the reality that the average American trucker finds themselves in. Your owner-operators, your small carriers, all your mom-and-pop trucking companies, you guys are all in the same boat. We're all in the same boat. At least allow someone else to be able to help you out so you can get through this difficult time. That's what we do. That's what we specialize in, and that's what we've been doing for well over a decade. We welcome you to get more information from us about our leasing programs, as well as about our dispatch programs. We work with both leased on owner operators, as well as carriers operating under their own MC authorities. Get in touch with us by calling or texting 801-448-6363 or on our website at aftdispatch.com. Until next week, stay healthy, be wealthy. Take care.